Dave from the Redneck Garage. Well, I'm out here in the driveway with my new cab that I got yesterday. If you watch the video prior to this one, you can see that I threw in the towel on the old cab. I guess I have a little bit of a mixed feeling about the whole thing because I set out to restore a 2000 model TJ from New Jersey, and it was basically a parts car. I'm using a lot of components from it, the drivetrain, having to rebuild the motor. Other than that, I've had to buy a new frame. Ended up getting a new cab, which saved me time and money, I think, in the long run. But it's kind of a frankenjeep. But anyway, I'm excited about having the cab, and I'm still trying to process what's from the old part except the VIN number, right? Okay, so I thought we'd just take a look at what I've got to take off and what we need to do to get this thing ready to paint before cold weather hits, because when that happens, can't do much at all except for, you know, mechanical stuff. So let's take a walk around. So as promised, I thought we'd do a walk around and just show you what I'm going to be up to as far as the new cab goes. It's in great shape, man. I'm just super happy with that. The worst part about the cab is right here, and you can see where it's dented in. Once we get the dash out, I should be able to take a porta power and straighten most of this out where the fender mounts, but it got hit really hard on this front corner. I looked at the frame and it was twisted up. The worst part about the Jeep is this front corner. You can see where it got hit on the front. It pushed this in just a hair, and we can take a porta power and push most of this out where it's supposed to be and massage that back out, and I'll have a little body work right here where it flexed it. But other than that, this thing's in great shape. It's got the 2003 dashboard, which is the newer style, and we will be using the back piece of this, not the main piece, but the back piece where the center bezel goes in, and we'll be putting the round radio in rather than the old square style. So that's super cool. I got that. I was thinking about buying one, but now I've got it. So we'll be taking all this portion off. This truck did have air conditioning. You can tell from the dryer right here that it had air. Oh, they put a piece of something in it. So I actually have a good switch there. I've bought one, but we'll take this piece off. Heater core, all this stuff will be coming off. One thing that is different is this is an automatic and mine was a manual. So we'll be putting the manual stuff back in it. I imagine I'll probably be replacing, just dropping back in the wiring harness into this one from the old one, because I knew it was working. And this one I don't know what happened to or whatever was going on. Whoever was driving this probably screwed up their camera when they crashed the crap out of it. Oh, and her name was Amber Ward. She was an honor roll student at Cordova High School. So Amber, I got what's left of your Jeep, sweetheart. The cab is in no rust. There's no rust in it whatsoever. Oh, some money. One thing that's great about this one is there's no rust in the cab whatsoever. The floor pans are just solid as they can be. I don't see any rust at all. Let's take a look underneath. If you remember from my old Jeep, this was all rusted out. There was nothing here. It's just gone. And underneath here, this was all rusted. And I don't really see any evidence whatsoever of rust at all. We're going to still undercoat it, but I don't have to mess with the rear cab corners or anything like that because it's in great, great shape. They left the fold and tumble brackets in. That's good. I don't have to put those in new. And the rear tub looks great. There's no dents, hardly any scratches in it. So awesome. So I'm going to get started taking the dash out, and we're going to be starting to, once we get the dash out, I'm going to start doing some body work on this thing, start getting it prepped for paint, and go from there. Well, that looks a heck of a lot better. Getting all the leaves and crap out of there. There is no rust. I don't see any whatsoever. So that's awesome. Next step is to go ahead and start disassembling the dashboard. You can tell that she took a pretty good hit with her knee, because you can see where it's dented in here. That's no big deal. You just spin it back out, but hit pretty hard, and I could see that the seat bolts were bent just a hair, so she probably was wearing her seatbelt. Alright, moving along pretty well with the dash removal. Got some wires to disconnect. Take some video. That's for an auto shifter, which we don't have, right there. Take the wiring harness away from this, and we'll be ready to take it off. And I'm going to have to do some finagling on the new one, because it is a little bit different. The fan, I know, is different, so that's going to be interesting to see what the differences are between the 2000 and the 2000. This is actually a 2004, believe it or not. So it's an 04 model. So super cool. I'm going to keep on keeping on. Well, moving along, got the wiring harness almost out. Up to that point, you can see it goes over to that fuse box there. Kind of a bummer that the heating control box is busted. Probably in the rack it got smashed right here. Somebody's knee or something happened to it, but almost ready to have the firewall cleared out. Gonna have to look at putting in the clutch, because it doesn't have a clutch. Take a look at that on the other side, and get ready to start doing some body work on this front cowl, and get ready to cut this part in once we get it cleaned off. So okay, awesome. I got everything stripped out. Looking good on the dashboard. Got everything off the firewall. Brake booster, cables, all that stuff. I know that I'm going to have to do a little bit of cutting or something here, because the fan actually mounts here on the old one. But here's where the damage is, and I can tell once I got everything off. You can see that it was hit right here in this corner, and it pushed this in a little bit, and it also collapsed this portion here just a little bit. You can see at that gap where it pushed that in down, where the motor or transmission hit really hard. Now I should be able to take a porta power and get most of this out. This is not as concerning for the most part as this part. We need to get this part straight so the fender lines up correctly. This part here, you know, that's not as critical, but if I get a porta power right here, it should push it out, I believe, where it should go. And that's why I discovered this. That's really why the heating and air box was damaged and destroyed, is because it got hit from the back side, right, where right in here where that firewall came up. So good porta power and a couple hours work. I'm hoping I'll have that pretty much pushed out where it needs to go and straightened up. And then the next thing will be, go ahead and I want to clean this off really well on the front, and then I'm going to seal it with the sealer I'm going to use on the truck and spray some blue on, because I really would like to get a good idea of what that color is going to look like. The inner sides of those fenders didn't turn out like I wanted it. They were too dark. So I'm going to spray some clear, some white sealer on here, just like we were painting the truck, and see how it comes out. And I may be ending up changing paint, but I got a crap load done today, and it looks great as far as like being a bare shell, ready to clean, prep, all that. Alright, so I got the transmission set up in the frame. I still have to put on the motor mount, clean up a little bit, but really I can mount it up in there whenever I feel like it. Put the drive shafts on. That's awesome. Been cleaning up out in the driveway a little bit, and I got the front firewall prepped, and I got it prepped for the porta power. So it's going to be interesting to see how it pushes out. I don't think it's going to be that bad. You get right up in that corner and you push pretty good with the porta power, and it'll do a lot on that. And take a hammer and just kind of massage it around as you're pushing, and then see if we can get this hump pushed out a little bit where it's pushed up. If it does, it doesn't. I'm just mainly concerned about getting this front where the fender lines up. So we'll see how well it pushes out, and I think it's going to do just fine. Because the tub's not attached to the frame, sometimes it's easier to push out than if it was attached, because the tub will actually give a little bit. So that's going to be our next steps, is trying to push that out. Alright, the sun's going down, which is a good thing. It's been humid as all get out today, but I did get a lot accomplished. I want to get that bin out. I really can't wait to put some paint on this thing. How cool is that going to be? So that's really going to be working towards those steps, is get this thing painted so we can dry the frame underneath it and get everything else put back on. I'm going to go in and take a shower. I am nasty wet with sweat. I'm David from the Redneck Garage. Keep turning wrenches.